What's going on? I got another video today with a very special guest, Dee Brown. She's been following my intermittent fasting stuff for some time now, and I want to get her on the call to share her experiences because she's so passionate about it. And she talks a lot about the intermittent fasting on her Instagram channel. And so, Didi, how are you today?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy we did this.
I know. I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, oh my God,
Well,
finally.
you know what you know what it was? It was like I was gonna do more of these podcast videos, but I just scheduling was so hard. I was like, oh, I don't know, I can't schedule. I got this and this in my life, and I'm just kind of, I just don't like having that commitment to a certain time because to me, I don't know, it stresses me out. But then I was like, you know what? 12:30. Bam. Just I can do 12 any day, but just has to be 12:30. And I
Yeah.
guess some people can't, but like that's the only way I've been able to do it.
And that's a perfect time for me because that's like my lunch. But I'm actually like on Fridays I really don't work. So I'm at the office. I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just hang out here for a minute. And then you said that, I'm like, this is perfect. Like on a Friday, yes, let's do this.
Oh yeah. So I'm wearing my special shirt for you. It's actually my Halloween costume when I'm too lazy to wear a costume. It's what do you think?
Oh, Netflix and chill. You know what happens with Netflix and chill.
It's in Netflix and chill.
Well, I gotta show you mine. I mean, I
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm from Massachusetts. My team is 7-0. You know, they have the whole deflate thing. You know, free Brady, and I'm just excited. You know.
Football fan. Wow, it's a great day. We're having a ball. I don't know why I went to Wilson. But let's talk about so how did you come into this Kinobody and intermittent fasting thing? How did that start?
Yeah. So about a year ago, I kind of like been dabbling with this whole intermittent fasting thing through actually watching someone on Instagram, a male that was doing it, and I saw his transformation. I mean, he looked amazing and he was competing. And it just seemed so like effortless. And he was eating Pop-Tarts. He was eating like all these foods that, I mean, literally I was hating on him. I'm like, what the hell? How is this guy able to do that? And then so I reached out to him, and he was a coach, and he was charging me, an amount that I just couldn't afford at the time. So but he gave me some good like resources. So he gave me like the lean gains site. So I said, okay, I'll check it out. So I tried to do it on my own, and failed. So then I said, you know what? Maybe it's just because he's a guy. You know how guys are. They shred really fast, whatever. So I dismissed that. And then about, I want to say in the beginning of July, this past July.
So you thought intermittent fasting wasn't for you because you're a woman. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because when I started doing some research on intermittent fasting, all they kept saying and all I kept reading about was women can't IF. All these different, things about like, it messes up with our hormones. It makes us just feel really bad. Like you can't do it. But then I also thought, I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. That's why I was feeling sort of weird when I was trying it. But I really didn't know that I was just not doing it correctly. I was just following whatever I was reading, and not really having the guidance that I needed, and the support. But so I dismissed it as, yeah.
So I was gonna ask, do you know why it didn't work initially when you first tried it? Why you kind of struggled?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't in the proper caloric deficit to begin with. I was just sort of like still figuring that out. My workouts were still, very brutal. And also, I had a feeding window, which was really hard to keep up with. So for me, it was like, okay, I would watch the time, the clock, and then let's say it was like from 12 to 8 or whatever, and I didn't eat past 8. So like if I had stuff going on in my life, with my children, I'm a mom of 2. So if I had stuff going on and I couldn't, and I didn't, and it's like 9 o'clock and I didn't get a chance to eat because my kids play sports and stuff like that. So at that point I was like, okay, well, I can't eat, so I would be like under like 1,000 calories, for example, and just be hungry and miserable. And then I would go to bed because I missed my feeding window. So, that in itself, it's like, okay, well, red flag, that's what I was doing wrong. And then also, I was experiencing a lot of like weird hormonal stuff, like, abnormal spotting, skipping periods and stuff like that. And I was just like, that's not me. I'm a person that gets, their period fairly regularly. And so I already knew that this, like, I'm like, okay, so this is what they're saying, like, women can't do this. But not really understanding that it's because I was just starving myself, basically. And that was what my body was just reacting to, the starvation and the extreme workouts and everything else. It wasn't the intermittent fasting that was causing it. But I know that now.
Very nice. So what changed in July?
So in July, someone approached me, which I always make fun of him. It's my I call him my coach. It's the guy at 129mm, Mike. He slid in through my DM and was like, "Hey, I see that you're working really hard. Have you heard of intermittent fasting?" And right away I was like, "Dude, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I tried doing that before. It didn't work for me. I was sick. It made me feel really awful. Like, I don't want to hear it." And it was like, "Well, like, what did you do?" So I explained to him exactly what I just told you. And he said to me, "Have you heard of Kinobody? Have you heard of this guy, Grego Gallagher?" I'm like, no, who the heck is that? So he put me on to you. And at this point, I was at a point in my life where I had built enough muscle, but I was also putting on a lot of fat. So I started to look more bulky. And I was just looking, I was very unhappy. I was doing fasted cardio. I was taking a ton of supplements. I was, at this point I had already kind of learned about if it fits your macros. So I was kind of like dabbling, but my macros weren't set properly. Again, it was like from online sources, just trying whatever I could to get myself where I wanted to be. But I was still struggling. I was not happy. I was missing home. Being away from my kids, because I would do fasted cardio in the morning, then I would lift weights in the evening. And I was doing so much and not getting the results that I thought I would be getting, and just feeling miserable, feeling like giving up. And I've been on Instagram for about 3.5 years, and I'm kind of like, I was dabbling into like the whole like network marketing scheme with supplements and products and stuff like that. I don't want to mention any other names, but so I was promoting that stuff. Thinking that stuff is, legit, but in reality, it was just, making me feeling more miserable. So I was like, how is this possible? How do these people on Instagram can do all this stuff and make pretend that their life is wonderful? I'm like, I hate it. I hate having to go to the gym in the morning. I hate having to do all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So he saw my work ethic and reached out to me and basically put me onto you. And I had to unlearn everything that I thought I knew. When he told me that I had to skip breakfast, that was one of the first things that I was just like, come on, man, seriously? Like, that's the most important meal of the day. Like who says you gotta skip breakfast? Like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, this Grego Gallagher guy is crazy. Like, he's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And but the more I kept, reading up on your stuff and reading the books and like stuff like that, like I was like, wait a minute, there's some truth to this stuff. I'm like, let me start applying this to my life. So when I started to become more open-minded is when I started to get the results that I was getting. So the first week I went down like 2.5 pounds, but I couldn't see, like I was like 1/2 inch of my waist was coming down. Just like I was already feeling even better. I was never like a morning person. And now I'm up like at 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, like I'm much more acute in my thought process. As before, I used to be like sluggish and not really like have the energy level. But now I'm just like, I can go. And it's just amazing. Like, and also being able to be at home with my kids. So now my training has, decreased. I only work out 3 days a week. My cardio, of course, I don't really mess too much with cardio, the kind of cardio I did before. Now it's just walking. Again, taking the principles that you shared so freely and applying them to my life. And now in turn, I apply that to my clients' lives. And, it in the beginning, like the first couple of days, like it was really difficult. I guess for women, the adjustment period can be a little bit tough, just because we're so emotional. Like, we're just emotional creatures. And but I can tell you that ever since I've been doing intermittent fasting, even when I'm on my cycle, I don't crave. I don't crave. I don't crave like chocolate and stuff that I used to crave before, like things higher in carbs or whatever the case may be. I just don't. And it just feels so, I just feel so free. And that's what I can say. And I can't thank you enough for that, because it's like my life has changed. My kid's life has changed. My little one before used to ask me, Mom, why do you always have to go to the gym? And I said, well, because, I got to stay healthy. I want to be here for you guys longer. But in retrospect, I wasn't there for them. You know what I mean? Like, wanted to be there for them longer, but I wasn't home enough. So the kind of quality of life that I was providing for my kids by working out the way that I was working out before and living that kind of lifestyle, the meal prepping, the having to carry around foods every to eat every 2 to 3 hours, and having these fancy dancy little bags where all these little meals were put in, and the food was disgusting. So for me, having to toss all that stuff to the side and now enjoy the foods that I love to eat, be home more with my children. And what helped the most is the 6 rules of intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
I live by that. That's like next to my Bible. Like, that is like legit. It's so amazing, because again, it reinforces that whole, like, it doesn't have to be so strict. The feeding window part, just that alone helped me out so much, because I'm like, before I go to bed, I get to eat, and I get to eat carbs. And it's like, and I'm still getting lean. And it's like, what? You know what I mean? Like, as before, it's like, that was a big no, you can't eat after 7. That's like, no, but now it's like, it's just so rewarding. And I don't know if you know how many lives you're impacting, not just my life, my children's life. And now in turn, I get to help out other women. And I'm talking hundreds of women who are now like, wow, this is amazing. And I don't think you know that. I know you know that. I know you know.
I thank you so much. Yeah, wow. That is the whole story was beautiful, and yeah, the way you said it just made me feel better than I probably felt from hearing about my impact. So
it's huge.
Thank you.
I think that for a lot of people, especially with coaching, that they're still very much stuck in the old ways, as where I was as well, as the belief that you have to eat clean, that all these, foods that are considered, no-nos, you really can't have. So even with my own coaching, I had to, like, it's almost like relearning or reteaching, or sort of like almost like telling them to erase their mind completely and to embrace this and to be optimistic about it, to just do it and do it correctly so that you can see and get the most from it, because a lot of people still have that guilt when they eat something that is, it fits their macros. And I talk to my clients about having an 80-20 approach, having more nutritionally dense foods and stuff like that. And again, with your advice on having carbs later in the day, because if I have carbs earlier in the day, I'm like knocking out. Like I am like, it puts me to bed. But definitely, helping them understand that it's okay to have pizza, that you don't have to go run to the gym and do cardio after you have pizza, because they have a huge guilt, which I went through it. And it took me about, I want to say 3 weeks to say, you know what, I'm good. I'm seeing changes in my body. So this is working. This is legit. So there's no reason for me to run to the gym and do cardio as where I used to do that before. It's almost like punishing myself for having a burger or fries, for having things like that. It was just the kind of quality of life, it just didn't seem right. It didn't seem right. But in terms of also with women, and what I've experienced with the clients that I've worked with, is that there is a condition called PCOS that women go through. It's like it's a polycystic ovarian syndrome, which causes weight gain and also causes irregular periods. And I have two clients actually who, one of them hadn't seen her period in almost a year, and then got her period, and now it's like regular menstrual cycle every month. And and then another one as well. So it's amazing how you can reverse these things. And doctors want to give you medications, they want to give you this, they want to give you that, but it's just changing your eating pattern and allowing your body to sort of, all these growth hormones and things like that happen naturally can regulate this stuff for women. And even the cravings, because you're a male, but I'll tell you right now, as a female, and we're not, and I'm not joking, when those cravings hit, when it's that time of the month, it's like it's unbearable. It is just the worst, and you want to eat everything in sight, especially the person sitting next to you. It's like, it's crazy. But now, like, I don't feel that way. It's like it comes and goes, and I'm like, I'm great. Like, it's no big deal, So definitely, my biggest advice for women is, when you read things about on the internet that says that women can't do IF, don't take it for face value. Try it for yourself, see if it works for you, because like any other approach, IF may not work for everyone. Just like, eating, the bro science or doing the whole bro science things may not work for everyone. But the only way to know is to go through it yourself. That's the biggest, I guess, takeaway that I can definitely advise women. Because again, I coach hundreds of women, and I've had no issues in terms of like feeling weird and, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I've seen on Instagram, there's awesome transformations.
Yeah.
From women dropping a lot of weight and feeling amazing. It's really inspiring and beautiful to see. I haven't been reaching out to women as much in my videos, because it's a lot of the way I talk is, so I mean, I have more of an 80%, 90% male audience, and you've been really getting more women into it, which is awesome to see.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I do my weekly weigh-ins on Mondays, and I always want to highlight that, and I always put on my captions like, and they say women can IF.
Mm-hmm.
They say that, and and it's to show that, listen, you can, don't believe what you read out there. Like, just try it for yourself. And these women, I mean, I've gotten women who, I mean, I've only been coaching for about a couple months now, and I've had folks drop 12 pounds, and like, I had one lady who was 300 pounds, lost 10 pounds in a week, with this approach. And it's just like, it's not just about, looking good. It's about getting healthy. Some of these women are in the right in the point where they're pre-diabetic. I even have actually a couple of type 2 diabetics working with me. And it's okay. They're doing quite fine. They're enjoying the foods. And that's the most important thing. It's like, no one wants to eat like a bird. No one wants to eat, well, I don't want to say no one, the majority of people. And to me, I mean, I love to have big meals. Like, to me, I love to have, so if I can just skip breakfast and then have all these calories to bank up to eat later on in the day, heck yeah, I'm going to eat like a king. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be amazing. So for them, that's one of the biggest things that they enjoy doing, which is something that, they're progressively losing inches and weight every week by doing this and enjoying the process. They don't feel deprived. They don't feel like, they can't stick to this. And these are people that came to me from doing almost the same things that I did before. The small meals a day, the taking supplements. I mean, the detox teas. I mean, all the nonsense that they're selling online. These women have done it all. They've been through it all. And now they're like, you know what, this is kind of like my last resort. And now they're like, they can't believe it. Like, wow, I'm actually dropping all this weight with such little effort and not paying all this crazy amount of money. It's unbelievable. And it's like, but getting, other people to to embrace that or to understand that, it's kind of hard because, you know, everywhere in magazines, like men's magazines, fitness magazines, they continue to talk about that you have to have, you know, your metabolism rate going by eating, you know, every 2 or 3 hours and stuff like that, which, you know, there's actually one of my ladies, I had a consultation, and she said that in Women's Health magazine, which is, I guess it's like a magazine for, like, it's targeted for more older women. It's like in the grocery aisle. It's like a little tiny magazine. She opened it up and there was an article about intermittent fasting. So it's slowly kind of moving, you know, in the right direction, and it's being more broadcasted. So hopefully more people can benefit and reap the benefits from IF, like I did and like my ladies are doing.
Yeah, definitely moving in that direction. There's still people that will freak out if you tell them you don't eat breakfast.
Yeah.
And they'll get angry. Yeah, you have to eat breakfast.
I mean, I got into a big argument with one of my friend's husband. Yeah. And he was about this, and now I've learned to back off. Like, if you know, if you're not gonna listen to what I have to say, I mean, I'm not gonna like push this on you, but you know, we were back and forth at it. And I'm like, look at my pictures, look at my results, like, look at my client's results. He was just like, no, you gotta have breakfast. Like, I don't care. He's like, well, because you used to work out all the time. I'm like, no, dude, like, you have no idea. Like, but I mean, it was to the point where I was so frustrated, like I could feel like the blood boiling. But now I'm just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna go there. Some people are gonna either believe it and some are not gonna believe it, but let them do them. I'm like, do you, boo-boo, do you? You know, I'm like, I can't because it drains you. You just give them the information if they want, you know, if they ask for it, give them the information and then move on. But to get into like a power struggle about who's right, who's wrong, ain't nobody got time for that.
No, it's not. It's a waste of your time and energy for sure. You know, and if it works for you and your clients, that's really a beautiful thing. People are it's intermittent fasting. It's only 2015 people, mainstream people, that have been conditioned for years and years and years into believing small meals, frequently, big breakfast. If you skip breakfast, body fat burning. People have been that ingrained for the whole life, and they say, "Wait, this person's skipping breakfast." You know what I'll say is that I started talking about intermittent fasting back in 2011, 2012, and I was like, this is so effective. I was reading all the books on it and the research, and I was like, this thing is amazing. My results were incredible, and I'm like, I'm going to share it. And when I was going to share it online, I was like, people are probably going to fucking shit on me. And they didn't. They were like, yeah, like, this is amazing, Greg. So, I mean, online, I was kind of attracting the people that were really open-minded. They were like, okay, you know what? I fucking struggle with this fitness shit. I'm killing myself eating these 6 meals a day. I'm killing myself this small meal. Here, let me try this 2 meals a day thing. I've been told it's horrible. You know what? Like, let's just fucking throw the chips out. Let's just try it. Let's fucking go on. And then they're like, shit, it's amazing. But you know what? Some people are still going to be like my little brother, Rory. He's so into intermittent fasting. I helped him. He was very overweight as a teenager, really overweight. He was just only getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But finally, you know, because like what you said earlier about this guy that just didn't want to listen to you. I let my little brother do his own thing. Finally, he came to me and he said, Gregory, can you help me like get fit like you? And I'm sad saying this story because it's touching, you know, it was really touching for me, because I watched him be overweight, and you know, I didn't realize how much pain it was for him to kind of be overweight, because I never I've never been overweight. I've been 16% body fat, but so finally he came to me at like 14 and he was like, you know, Greg, can you help me? And he struggled, you know, because he struggled with eating. He just wanted to eat and eat. And I was like, skip breakfast. You know, I didn't want to give him calorie rules, this and that. She said, skip breakfast, you know, have a nice lunch at school, eat whatever is for dinner, and then if you want to have a little snack at night, have a snack at night, and just try that. And I didn't want to, because I wanted to keep things so simple. I didn't want him to be stressed out. He did that. Every week he'd come to me and be like, so Rory, how much do you weigh? He's always down 1 pound. Every week was down 1 pound. He was working out. He started at 0 chin-ups, got up to like 12 or something. And like, from that winter to that summer, he changed completely.
Oh my God.
Lean, fit, everything, and now he's been building muscle. But he couldn't have, and same thing with my cousin. My cousin lost 50 pounds. These are guys that would have never been able to do dieting. I could never do dieting, but I never let myself go. And then they're in great shape, and it's easy. They eat their big meals, and so, I mean, like, that's the beauty. And so who cares? Yeah, who cares if someone's like, oh, but so
Yeah.
my story was that when Rory was talking about intermittent fasting, he's been on this internship trip. One of the girls, and this big old overweight girl, huge girl, she was freaking out. She's like, "You can't skip breakfast. It's gonna destroy your health." You're gonna, like, Rory's like, "What about my brother? You look how fit he is, and he's helping thousands of people get results." And she's like, "Your brother's horrible, irresponsible. He's gonna kill millions of people."
Oh my God.
I know. But my brother Rory, he's really present, unidentified. He's just like, "Yo, you need to chill. You need to chill." Because so I mean, he's like, "You need to chill. We're
That's
talking
awesome.
about fucking mealtime, girl. Like, we're not talking about murdering people here."
I know. That's so crazy. But you know what? I have a similar story. So my children, when I was, into the gym all the time and kind of staying away from not being at home so much, and I admit I was very selfish. Like, I'm here, like, I want to get this like banging ass body. Like, I'm gonna be in the gym. I'm gonna do whatever it takes because I was overweight. I was not always overweight. I put on weight after a breakup, and so like it's been about almost 4 years that I was at like 180 pounds. I'm 5'3", and then I went down to like 127. But killing myself, not enjoying the process. And then eventually it was creeping back up, but I've sort of been, now that I've been doing this, it's been great. So like, it's not even an issue. But my eldest son, and my little son, they were both, because I was in home so much and I wasn't cooking meals, they were just ordering in or whatever. They put on a ton of weight. So my eldest, he's about 5'8", was at 290. And I mean, just struggling, again, emotional eating and stuff like that, dealing with depression. And he's doing intermittent fasting. And he started, I want to say about a month after I started. So September. And he went from 290 to now he's 253.
Wow, 40 pounds. And since September? This September. Wow, that's amazing. How old?
Like, it's unbelievable. I mean, as a mother, I mean, that's, and the thing is, like, and my little one as well, like, he was at like, I mean, he was trying to play football, and he was trying to make weight or whatever, and I forget, like, he was supposed to like drop like 5 pounds or something like that. It wasn't a big deal, but he was just like lost, like, what do I do? And my little one, I don't encourage him to do intermittent fasting, just because, I mean, he's still growing. I know that's not going to be an issue, but I just don't want him to feel like, I don't know, like, I just want him to kind of just be a kid. And you know what I mean? And just kind of figure things out as he goes along. But he's all about it. He wants to do it. He's like, I'm going to do it. He's not a breakfast person anyways. So I'm like, okay, you know what? So I guess it doesn't really matter, because if you're not conditioned to eat breakfast in the morning, I mean, then you're going to really do intermittent fasting. I mean, but I do have him, calculating macros, and that's what we do as a family. We have, we're on MyFitnessPal, all three of us, and then we just kind of like make fun of each other, like whoever's on poverty macros or whatever. Like, oh, look, I have this much, I have that much, so it's like a little competition, and the kids love it. But I mean, in my little one, his weight fluctuates, but you can definitely tell that, he looks different. I haven't taken any measurements or anything like that. I just want him to just be a kid. But definitely he looks, I mein, it's a combination of like either, obviously that, and also he's just growing up. So he's kind of like leaning out, and it's just so fascinating. And, but my eldest, he is one that he's, when he's passionate about something, he's passionate about something. And he's been telling me that he's been having arguments at school because with his teachers as well, he says that Mom, my phys ed teacher, she's all about cardio. She's all about cardio. She's all about having all these meals. And I keep telling her that I'm doing intermittent fasting and look at my results, whatever. And like, I'm like, Jeffrey, you're gonna make me go to the school and they're gonna like kick you out because you're so outspoken. I'm like, dude, just relax. Do what you're gonna do and just let it go. You're gonna be fine. And he's having arguments with his friends. They're telling him that he's crazy. What he's doing is crazy. He's like, but look at my results, So, but I mean, my kids, going a little bit back, they had a physical recently, in less than I think it was like 6 months ago, where the doctors were concerned about them being pre-diabetic. So they got blood work and stuff done. Thank God they weren't, but they were concerned about their weight. And that was, to me, that was another red flag. But I still didn't. I mean, 6 months ago, I didn't know this the way I do it now. So had I known, my kids wouldn't be in that situation. I mean, now their health markers that I know they're improving, and I'm going to take them back to the doctors just to make sure, and to get more lab works and stuff like that to just confirm that they are doing a lot better than what they were before. But this has allowed me to be more of an involved parent, because I have this freed up time, and I'm not so concerned so much about, oh my God, if I miss a day at the gym, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. So long as I stay with my caloric deficit, so long if I do my intermittent fasting, I'm going to be lean. Like, I'm not going to worry about gaining all this weight back. Like, it's going to be okay. And having that freedom. And it comes down to that. It's that freedom. It's like, again, dude, you have no idea, man. Like, I'm like, when I was researching, trying to find out like who you are, and I'm like, this dude's from Canada. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is going on here? Like, this he needs to come over here. Like, he needs to come out here and like do these crazy seminars and like teach everyone about this stuff the right way. But I mean, you're doing it and you're touching so many people's lives. Like, my kids could have been, dealing with diabetes, and my eldest now, his self-esteem has improved. He's not one to like want to be in the gym yet. He's 17. He's a senior, but hopefully one day he'll decide to want to become more physically active, and I'll support him. But at least the nutrition part will be something that's kind of out of the way, and that's one of the most important things, if not the important thing, when it comes to this stuff. But yeah.
So
thank you.
Thank you. So we're speaking with your coach, or 129mm. What was the first program of mine that you read that really cleared things up and you're like, oh my God, like this actually makes sense?
Yeah. So the first one was aggressive fat loss.
Yeah.
But I know that was a little bit outdated, because there's a lot of information in there that has a little bit has changed in terms of like the macronutrients distribution in terms of the protein. I know that at first it was like, you gotta have like, you mentioned something about 200 grams of protein, and I was like, that's not what he says now. You know what I mean? But I mean, is
that aggressive fat loss or warrior strength?
Oh yeah, aggressive fat loss.
Okay.
Yeah, aggressive fat loss. Yeah. And then after that, he put me onto your podcast. And then from then on, I was just, I guess the biggest one that I was like, okay, wait a minute, this really clicked, was the podcast you did on HIIT cardio.
Yeah.
And I was like, shoot, like that makes sense, because that's what I used to do. I used to do the mountain climbers, the burpees. I used to do, not do any rest time in between. It was like your heart rate has to stay elevated. I had to be drenched in sweat in order for me to say, okay, I got a good workout in. But that was sabotaging my own progress. And I didn't know that. So, I mean, I can say, I mean, all of them. I have the Goddess Toning program, which is amazing. And I'll tell you, like, some people say, oh, it's not enough workouts. It's not, it doesn't seem like the volume is not as high. And it's like, oh, you feel it tomorrow. If not tomorrow, the next day. Oh, you feel it. Because I'm still feeling it, and it's great. And it's like, it's so effective, and you don't have to be in the gym for so long. Like, the workouts are compound exercises, which makes sense, you're in, you do what you got to do, and then you're out, and you're getting amazing results. Like, and it's so brilliantly done. I mean, and I love the fact that like you talked about just all of this like positive affirmations in the beginning. And then you went into the workouts, because a lot of people have that disconnect where they think that is just about the workouts. And and you have to really be in the right state of mind to get yourself into something like this. Anything that has to do with physical activity. Like, you can't just go in there with a negative mentality. And at first, you set the tone for, let's be positive about this. Let's keep it positive. So, I mean, and then also, I always think about this. I'm like, you're 24. Are you 24?
Yeah.
He's a kid. I'm like, he's a baby. And here he is, like, with all this knowledge, and I'm like, this is just unbelievable. It's unreal. He's a mutant of some sort. But that's definitely, you also had a video about being present in the moment. You had a walk, and it was like cold, and you were just talking about how that if fitness is the number one thing that you're always thinking about, it's in the forefront of your mind, and everything that you do in your life is all about fitness, then you're not doing this right. You're not living. Being able to. So to me, at that, I live by that. I live to be able to say, you know what, tomorrow isn't guaranteed. So what can I do today to improve my life today? And every day that I do my fasting, and I, which is, in time, it's like nothing. It's like second nature. I don't even think about it anymore. It doesn't bother me. It's actually great. I'm not hungry. But, thinking about that, to me, it's like, if once I hit my, my caloric deficit for the day, and I, enjoyed my workout or whatever, then that's a win to me. That's a victory for that day. I can't think about, what's going to happen tomorrow in the future. That hasn't happened yet. But today, it's okay for today. It's enough for today. And, when you said that, it's like, it's amazing because, now I'm doing more mindfulness, like, things where, I take a moment to do some relaxation and meditation and things like that. And I guess as we forget, a lot of people forget that, our bodies are all interconnected with each other, and when I used to work out really hard, I didn't understand that my central nervous system was taking a huge hit as well. So I never took the time to take a rest day. Oh, no, 0 rest days. And I see that on Instagram. I've unfollowed so many people that are like, no days off, unfollow. I'm like, you need to take a break. Like, seriously. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that all of that, I mean, it's just so amazing that you've put all that information out there, that it's just like, listen, enjoy it. Enjoy the journey,
That's beautiful. We just came up on time, and I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing this. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I mean, I was on just waiting. I'm like, oh my goodness, but thank you for what you do, and thank you for helping my life, my children's life, and the life of so many women that I'm helping right now, and 2 males.
Well, here, I'll put your Instagram tag right here. It's Diddy Brown
14
on Instagram. DIDI Brown 14 Instagram. You got some awesome motivation there, and you got a lot of Instagram followers. Yeah, and you're sharing some very cool stuff. So anyways, thank you so much for coming on. I hope everyone enjoyed the episode today.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.